Hey, good fruit pod. Happy New Year and Merry belated Christmas. I hope everyone had really great holidays. Welcome to the Good Fruit Pod. My name is Riss. Usually I have a co-host here. Her name's Carrington. She is okay. She is not here this episode. It is just going to be me, and that is because she is off doing amazing things. Carrington is officially an EMT, which we are so proud of her. Carrington, I don't know. Maybe you're listening to the pod, pulling someone out on a stretcher. Maybe you're putting a band aid on someone. Carrington, we are so proud of you. And I know I've said it before, but I love to give Carrington kudos for recording this pod and for being a part of this podcast and for going on the spiritual journey that she has been, all while studying to be an EMT. I think that's really cool. And I know that's probably a lot to be focusing on your spiritual journey while trying to get into a professional career, but like, good job, Care. We're very proud of you. And I think I need to put on a different shirt. It is hot in this room right now. Give me a sec. Don't look at me. Oh, I don't get this. All right, I'm back. Let me see. Checking the camera. Sorry. And no, I wasn't just gonna muscle tee it. Don't want you guys to see my shoulders, you sickos. Anyway, also, if you guys see this, don't mind me. There's a lot of things going on right now. Let me explain. Number one, we are in my room. This is not the pod set. The reason I am here right now is because I have been so ill. I was originally supposed to post this solo episode on January 6th, but I got whatever the heck flu was like traveling around. And guys, I was like non sentient for 2 days. Literally chills, fever, my freaking throat hurt like nobody's business. And I like still have the nasty cough that went along with it. It's crazy. Anyway, but I'm okay now. I'm still a little stuffy and congested, so if I cough, don't listen. But yes, this is my room. This is the little desk, discount little desk, and it has duct tape on the underside of it. I have a medicine ball that I sit on as my chair, very ergonomic, allows me to stretch my hips, and I can do Pilates with it. So, explaining why I'm here in my room and sitting on this medicine ball chair right now and not my desk set up the way I am, I didn't want to get my dad sick. He is someone that has like a bit of a weaker immune system. He's someone that we needed to be aware of during COVID. He's a really strong guy, but like, it's my dad. What do you like? I'm gonna take care of my dad. So I didn't want to go over there sicky sick and then him get sicky sick because his sicky sick would be worse. I did wait until last minute to try to record this episode, and that's okay. But then I fell ill, and I said, okay, everyone's gonna wait. Which is a goal that I've been working on this year, is taking care of my health too. So with that introduction, welcome to 2025 Good Fruits. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be doing this pod. And I'm really happy that you are tuning in and joining me on this new year. And if you stuck around this long, joining me on the solo episode, I really appreciate it. And this episode is going to be a little different. I know you guys have been waiting for what we're going to call season 3, the content about the creation story and Adam and Eve, and us really getting into those more metaphorical, subjective ideas in the Bible, explaining our arguments that God does accept modern day homosexuality. And that is coming. But, you know, I don't know what it was, but I just felt like something was calling me to do this episode. And I wish that I could give you guys an exact reason why, which it literally is going to be a very casual 2024 year recap and what it looks like going into 2025 for the Good Fruit Pod with Riss. It kind of still is coming out of the new year and everyone's jumping back into the regular routine. And so we wanted to give you something easier and we wanted to pace ourselves out. But for some reason, even though this is supposed to be a casual episode where there's not like a curriculum or education behind it, there was something about it that I just felt like this episode seemed really important, regardless of the content. Also, I didn't explain this. Yes, my mic is one of those little plug-in mics. Yes, the little black thing that goes on top of it, the little fluffy part that blocks the wind, is off. So hopefully that doesn't jack you guys up. Yes, I have a rubber band attached to a crazy looking Dr. Seuss stand. And yes, That Dr. Seuss stand is a book light. Mind your business. This ain't Texas. And hold on. Also, guys, I'm not totally 100%. If you guys can't tell, thus why I sound nasty. No, my voice didn't get lower because I'm starting tea. I wish. No, it's just because I'm ill. Anyway, I feel like it's been a while since we've visited the pod, at least me and Carrington. I've been working on the pod on the back end, but I don't know. I feel like the filming part and the actual sharing information ministry part has been something that we haven't done in a while. And there's always reason behind that. And, I talk about the pod, it's my life. This is my baby. This is my project. And I'm someone that I love what I do. I love this. I don't necessarily love audio visual. I don't necessarily love editing. I don't love being on the computer all day. And it's a lot, but it's so worth it. I love this. This is the Good Fruit Pod, and being able to share God with LGBTQIA plus community that has been so good to me and that I'm so proud to be a part of. It's just so full of love. To share God, who is all loving and good and just light, with people that maybe don't know Him. I love that. And I love God. And so I love being able to study and spend time with Him and meditate on His scripture, but also look at it from like a research standpoint. Like, it is so great. And we, as a pod, have a stable, at least like 25 viewers, and we are so thankful for them. And we last year hit about 125 downloads on Spotify. And last year in 2024, audio wise, strictly audio, we hit 124 episode downloads, which is awesome. Thank you so much. And on YouTube, we're hitting about, I want to say, anywhere from 20 to 60 views per episode. And which I know that's a big range. It kind of depends on the episode, but it is so amazing. And while those numbers may not seem big, they're huge to me, who I've never done anything in ministry. To know that people are actually tuning in, and that consistent 20, like, that is such a solid number, in the sense of people are waiting to listen to this content. And to know that this means something to somebody, not only me. And I know that people have had questions and asked me personally and la la la, but to know that people tune in and use this resource, it is so, I'm so overwhelmingly thankful that I would be that resource to somebody, that this pod would be that resource to somebody. And it shows me that all the work is going somewhere. And to know that even if it's just one, there's one person trying to figure out their way with God. And hopefully this is providing comfort. Hopefully they're not like, ain't no way, like, hopefully we don't do the opposite of what we're trying to do here. But if it's only for one person, I'm down for it. For one person to get close to God and to know God, who has been desiring to be with Him, and to help them accept their authentic self, and to feel loved for who they are, and to be able to love who they love genuinely. It is so beautiful. Like, I just, and like, that's what I'm okay with, and I want to do it. And I love to do that. And I love that idea. And so if I feel that way about one, imagine that times 20. And I know that people are dissecting my arguments, and I know that there's conversations happening, and I know I've had letters written in about what I'm doing that disagree with me, and that's okay. And that I'm willing to go into those debates. Honestly, like, even an argument means that someone's listening. And I'll argue it all day that God loves people who are part of the LGBTQI plus community. And like, even an argument is an opening up of that conversation, a civil engagement. I'm sorry, not an argument, a civil engagement. An argument is scary. So I love doing it. Anywhere that I can show people even a glimpse at the love of God, the love from Him, and the love for Him, and the way that it transforms your life. Like, if I can get someone closer to that genuine, good, authentic, just amazing love from God, I will do that. I will fight for that to the ends of the earth. So, bringing it back to why this episode is so important, even relating to that, I'm not sure. It's just I want to do well. I want to be with you guys on this journey and I want to do it right for you guys. And while, yes, I'm not trying to do this for me and I want to make everything about God and I want you guys to focus on God and not me and care. And I try really hard to make this pod look nice and to make it run smooth so that you guys are engaged in that people want to watch it and so that they can hear content about God and then eventually just like right to God. I don't do the posts on TikTok and I don't try to make the video quality or audio quality better for me because I want you guys to geek over me. I want you guys to hear what I'm saying without distraction so that if you do really need this content or if that you are really trying to find your way that you have it without distraction and that it's there and it's available to you and the marketing that we do or like business cards that we've made and the social media content that we put out, the efforts that I put in, they're never about trying to get more views for me. It's always about trying to maybe reach somebody who needs this. And I'm a business major and I understand that people are going to consume and appreciate what they are, for lack of better words, attracted to, or for what intrigues them, or for what fits in their learning style. So, when doing this episode, reviewing the last year and talking about the new year and the things that we're going to do and the improvements to the pod that we're going to make, it somewhat forces me to be vulnerable. And I think I've said it on the pod before. I don't really like being vulnerable, but it does. It's going to be forcing me to share the things that I wish I had done better and the things that I feel I failed at the pod, and my vulnerabilities and the ways that I've learned my weaknesses. A review of the year meant a review of me and the project that I'm putting out, and almost like how good am I doing this for God? And I don't mean it to get all deep and stuff. I know it said it's going to be a light pod, but that's just an honest truth. That's, I think, what made me nervous about it is that I do try really hard for this pod. And I really try because I love God and I want to give my best to Him. And I love you guys. And I want to give the best to y'all. And I love, and I'm so passionate about the LGBT youth and protecting them and being an advocate for them. It's in the sense of maybe someone is struggling so much with their spirituality and sexual orientation that they feel like it needs to be the end of their life. And when I think about the episodes that I put out and the content that I put out, I want it to be good in case there's somebody that really, really needed it. And God forbid they don't listen because the audio was awful and like gonna break their eardrums, which we totally know is gonna happen. And yes, I know it's not all on me, but it's things like that that I think about. Or what if that TikTok video was so dumb or too long that someone who really needed it didn't watch it all the way because I didn't fit their learning style? I know that's beyond my control, but it's things like that that I think of and that worry me when producing the pod. And not only that, but I also think of the way I present myself. But yeah, part of doing better for the pod was doing better as me as an individual and doing better as a person. So that took some self reflection as well. And so I will go into that too. And I really hope that this encourages somebody. And I'm also doing this selfishly, I guess, for my own accountability. You know, if I tell you guys, I got to do it. And also, I just hope to connect better on a human level. I just don't want to be a robot, like sitting here and telling y'all facts. You know, I love sharing about the Bible and stuff. Like, I want you guys to know it and I want you guys to learn it. And I want you guys to take that information for yourself. But I understand that with leadership comes human connection. So hopefully I can do that for you today too by sharing those evaluations that I've made of myself. But also, it is important for me to be vulnerable about where I'm at too, because I feel like as someone who's going through this ministry along with you guys are affected by the things that I'm dealing with in my personal life. And so it's important for me not only have my personal life together for me and my mental health, but because it reflects on the pod. And I'm so sorry that I took on this role of leadership and then let distractions of this world get in the way of a ministry that I'm doing for God. Like, I'm so sorry. Thank you guys for being patient, and I'm trying to figure it out and I'm trying to do better. And so I want to share that with you guys. Just, I love you guys and I love this pod and I love God. And I hope this all goes back for his glory, and I want to do well, and I will hold myself accountable to that. So, yeah, let's talk about it. Guys, I've been listening to Brittany Broski, her podcast, her podcast, and she's amazing. The one episode where she breaks down and she talks about having to let things go that don't serve you anymore. It was so real and it was so vulnerable. And I know it took over the internet, so I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. But to see Brittany Broski like that in that light, where she is just so fun and she brings so much enjoyment and she's entertaining and engaging, like to see her be real like that, I loved it and I felt so connected with her. And then she did a year end recap and she still held herself together and delivered her material in a really awesome way. And but she was still herself and I loved it and I loved the personalness of it and I loved hearing about her revelations throughout the year and the things that she's gone through and it was so inspiring to me. And so not only am I sharing my shortcomings for God, but also because I was inspired by Brittany Broski and hopefully I can be someone's Brittany Broski and if not, maybe I can just be a nice little fun listen for you. Are you at work right now? Are you listening at work? Where are you guys listening? I've been told that sometimes I get listened to in the shower. That's crazy. You're gonna get your phone wet. Here we go. Recap. 2024 recap. Number 1. I learned I am a Stanley girl. I love her. Amazing. Number 2. I learned I really am not the best. I don't know if I'm not the best or if I just literally absolutely hate it. Administration. I learned a lot about producing a podcast, about managing, and I have a job where I needed to grow a lot in the professional workplace. I am in HR, so I learned a lot about the navigations of that and working in office and organizational awareness, I guess. I gained a lot of corporate organizational awareness and oh my gosh, I am so bad at it. And guys, I don't know. Maybe you're like me. I used to be a high performer in college. I graduated with honors. I graduated on the dean's list. I was an NAIA All American academic recipient. I played a college sport. I would do extracurricular like worship and yada yada. And like what happened to me? I get to the office and I'm like, I didn't read an email all day, like not one, and that's my job. And then here, communicating with the team, which my goodness, let me give a good shout out to this team really quick. In this 2024 year, starting this podcast, I need to give a shout out to Gracie. I need to give a shout out to Care for literally being so, so lenient in the sense of working with me as I'm learning how to be a leader. With running a podcast, that freaking, we posted a TikTok on it one time where it was like, running a podcast is a lot of work. We posted it pretty early on, me and Carrington. We made it and promoting like the actual first episode of the pod. And oh my gosh, is that audio not flipping real? It is hard work. It is. I literally have a Google Calendar right now for it. And it's so much of like, gotta get the drive space and being able to answer and like working with the editor's hours, working with this person's hours, and working with my own life and hours. Like, and like with all the difficulties that we've ran into, all the uploading and all of the glitching out and computing and cloud and it's a lot. And I need to give a huge shout out to my crew. Thank you. Because I am learning how to be a manager. I'm learning how to be a creator. I'm learning how to be someone that does this. They have been nothing but patient. They both have their own lives. They both are working full time. And I just am so immaculately grateful that it's those two who also not only just are patient and gentle with my shortcomings, but who also encourage me and lift me up and are ready to be there for me. Like, thank you guys. I love you guys. Care and Gracie. Mwah, mwah. I think I'm also learning that I'm a mid 20-year-old and my body does not run like it did when I was 17, which my friends have been calling me grandpa lately. And I will take it if it gives me a couple extra hours of sleep because my body is crashing out. I will drink a Celsius and it will not make me feel anything. That was a little hard one this year. I'm learning that I'm not the best at audiovisual. I thought, I was pretty tech savvy until, and you know what? With the pod, I had so much to learn, and I'm still learning them. I'm thankful that the viewers like you guys are so patient with us, like producing and putting out things that maybe aren't as seen as they could be or should be. But really, I've never produced a podcast before, and I'm doing it for the first time now. And again, I had some experience with it, but man, does it teach you like nobody's business. Thank you guys for being patient with that. And not only am I learning my shortcomings here, but being in a developmental stage at my workplace, I have also been learning my shortcomings there. And I don't know about you guys, but 2024, it hit me like a truck in the sense of technical skill development. It showed me how low on the totem pole I am. Like don't get me wrong, I'm smart and I know how to do certain things, but man, did I need to learn a lot and I still am learning a lot. So it was hard in this 2024. I was constantly being shown the things that I struggled with. And I was constantly having to learn something new. And it just was a lot. Not only was it just like physically hard and like straining and trying to work things and learn things and put things together that like it was a mess, but mentally it was really draining. And in the case that maybe you're listening to this as a new person trying to start their own podcast, my recommendation is to test run a few episodes, even if they're just like 10-minute ones. Test run it, every step of it. Like make a fake YouTube account and post it and run it through the editing systems and yada yada. Do it for like a month to make sure that you actually know what you're doing, because I didn't. We just kind of jumped in and it was awful. And you guys got the repercussions of that with episode 1. Your eardrums are bleeding. I know I'm beatboxing into the microphone and like I go test it out. You guys go test it out. And yeah, that sucked. But yeah, mentally that was draining. It just was constantly like being told no. Like, ooh, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. And it was happening at work too. And it was a lot. Thus the mental health break. If you've been a long time listener, you know that we literally took a 2-month break. But yeah, that was a big part of it. The mental part, I'm learning that I can get my feelings hurt and that I need to work on compartmentalizing better. The pod is something that is constantly on my mind. Again, I love to do it. This is my baby. This is my passion project. But man, is it hard to learn how to balance this thing that I love to do with everyday life. I am still a mid 20-year-old and I'm still living life and I'm still learning. I got in a car accident. I bought my first car on my own and I got car insurance on my own. I have my own medical insurance now, which I'm so thankful that I'm able to have those things. Learning how to have those things and take care of it on my own was a lot. Learning how to pay off my own bills and checking my own credit score, that's crazy. I knew how to do that, but it's just different when you get your student loans pushed through and when you're getting insurance payments and car payments and when you're thinking about I'm 20 some and am I going to buy a house soon in this economy, and it's crazy. And one of the things too that I went through this year was also a breakup from a pretty decent long-term relationship, and it was a very serious one. And I know that those struggles that I was having at that time in that relationship or with the recovery part of it definitely affected the pod. And as a previous sports girly, I used to be someone that could turn it on and off, like nobody's business. But those were all physical things. And the podcast, it's mental. I have to be ready to study. I have to be ready to think and listen and hear and actually be aware, because like if I'm editing, I'm the last line of defense before this thing goes public into the world. And with that, it's hard to take out what's happening mentally in your personal life for the heavy things and for the light things, even, or even schedule wise, just as an adult. Like, I need to go get my groceries and I need to go do this, yada, 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 but I need to make time to edit this video and study and la la. I let it all get mashed together. Thank you to you guys for being patient while I'm trying to figure out my personal life. I'm working on that. This is mental. You need to get your mental right in order to do this kind of production and study and sharing. So I learned the importance of mental health and I've learned how quickly I burn out. and how much I love a me day and a rest day, and how much I need fun in my life, and how much the things that God calls us to enjoy, like flowers or sunset or just the wind in your hair, taking a walk, like those things are important. God wants you to do that. We're made to enjoy those things, and He gives us those blessings so that we can. I'm learning the importance of having a schedule. I'm learning the importance of answering my texts. And I know these all like sound silly, but it's things like that that become a huge slap in the face. And especially for me, I'm in HR admin, and it's like, how do you prioritize tasks in which everyone is important and getting this on time and due date? But then you have podcasts on top of that. And like, how do I make that work life hobby balance? I'm learning that I love to get flowers. As silly as it sounds, I've been having to focus on like what I like to do in my pastime, and I actually really love putting together a bouquet of flowers for people. And it's like the smile on someone's face is so cute. I learned that maybe I don't know as much about the Bible as I thought I did. I learned my argument paper wasn't where it needed to be. I learned I get super distracted easy. I learned that my ADHD is crazy all over the place. I do not know how I did it in school or college, like at all. And becoming an adult, and trying to balance this, it's a lot, but I'm grateful, and it's putting me through the ringer. This year has put me through the ringer, but it's all for good things. And, going into this episode and even this past month, I'm going to be honest, y'all, I was feeling pretty bad about myself. I really felt like I was disappointing the people for the pod, and I felt like I was failing at producing what this dream was or what other people needed. But today, and talking about it now, thinking of the successes that I wrote down to share with you guys, amazing. I feel a lot better sharing those things and being honest about my shortcomings. And it's okay to learn. It's okay for me to receive grace from others. So thank you guys. And I'm so thankful for all the things also that I'm learning so that I can become better and do better in the future. And who knows what this experience now is going to lead me to. And yeah, like I need to thank you guys, because just putting it all out there, it's reminding me that not only do I have to talk about the shortcomings, but I have to talk about the successes that go along with it for you guys to understand why I ran into those shortcomings. Each has a play in one another, and it's actually really cool to be like, I can only get better from here. So thank you guys for walking through that with me, but it also takes honesty to get there. So don't feel bad. I've been told I can be harsh on myself, but I'm okay. It's okay sometimes to be harsh so that you can push yourself to do better. Anyway, I'm getting tired. Okay. So talking about these things, that's kind of where I was at in my personal life, and just figuring things out and being young and dumb and trying to gain experience. That's me talking about me. But for the pod, I wrote down this timeline of some of the things that were big for us that we ran into, just because I want to share with you guys, like, even if we're not posting an episode, like, things are moving, and it is so cool. And it's cool not only to see the milestones that the pod hits, but like as Carrington as an individual, as Gracie as an individual, as me as an individual, and for you guys, it's so great. And that's why that solid 25 viewers or listeners that we get each time, or the 60 views on a video, it is so cool to see those kinds of things, just because like we're growing, and it's working. And so these little milestones, like, you got to celebrate them. They're leading to somewhere. It might be small, but it's huge for us. Just, it is so cool. I'll boast and brag about that all day, because you guys are awesome. And those small things, you just got to celebrate them. And God is good for even giving us what is considered even a low number in today's world of views. But like, I love it. And those small victories are what led us to where we're at now, and what led me to being able to be here right now and be vulnerable and learn those things. So again, hardship comes with the successes, weaknesses comes with the strengths. So talking about the pod as an individual, and I just want to go through that and show how we've grown. Pod timeline. I figured I'd just go through. I wrote some bullet points for the months. January is actually when I first posted about starting the pod on social media, which I remember that. Maybe I'll do a separate episode on what that journey actually looked like going through the pod, but like, that was huge. I created a TikTok. I never was on TikTok. I created a TikTok just for this podcast. I have it here. My first TikTok I ever made was on January 16th of 2024, and I posted about the podcast, which also meant me posting publicly about me coming out. And yes, I know I look the way I do, but like, That also was pretty big, and I did that on January 25th. And I just remember all of the like good I received from it, like all the good attention and all the good reviews and like all the comments. And it was like people were like, I've been waiting for something like this, or like this needs to be done. Like, I'm so happy, this is great. And it was so good. It was so encouraging. And like to be here and actually doing it now, and like I didn't realize that I posted about it in January. And like when I release this episode, I believe it's gonna be the 26th, the 21st. Like that's a whole year. That's a whole year of actually like getting public about this. Mind you, again, I've been working on this pod for a couple years now, content wise, but to actually be production wise, it's only like it's a baby, like not looking at it. And it's just so cool. It's so cool to see how it grows. And I'm out here talking about it when it was just I made a video about an idea and now it's the real thing. So that's really cool. And then in February, I got my first mean comment, cute, but I remember that also like low key being like, oh, and this is gonna sound so crazy. The mean comment was something really ugly, which I didn't like. And it wasn't even about the pod. It was something simple. And some guy, I don't know what, I'm not gonna say what he wrote, but he wrote something crazy. And I remember my friends were texting me, but low key when I got that, I remember being like, "Ooh," like I got my first like mean actual like someone leaving something on my post because that was like I'm saying something so meaningful that it took this person needed to spend time writing some fat comment because it struck a bone with him so much. My post did that and it was really cool. Like I just remember being like, as bad as it is, I know, don't be mean. Don't be mean on the internet. And it was hard, don't get me wrong, reading that. And then like other comments came through at the time and I was like, okay, mean, don't do that. But like, okay, it was cute. March, we finally set up the set. And then April 1st, again, just an idea is now a reality and actually happening. We posted our first episode on April 16th. And that actually, the syllabus week, people were waiting for that. And I want to thank you guys for that. It was so cute. We have like 112 views on YouTube alone for that video. And we had streams like nobody's business on that one. And that means that you guys were waiting for that. And thank you. Like, wow, people, friends were supporting us and waiting to listen and they tuned in. They tuned in the day of. Then people were finding it and like, oh my gosh, this is such a great idea. It's just so cool to think that you guys are right there, right when we started on this race. And thank you guys. And you guys, your eardrums were going to blow up. And I'm so sorry. But it comes with learning. But yeah, learn that I should not hold the mics anymore and that I move around a lot more than I think. But like that kind of stuff, that's so crazy. This pod, I have thought about it for years and now it's here. And then we're gonna hit a year mark soon. So like I feel like I just started this podcast yesterday. So okay. And then we had in May, we had Kara's Toll Takeover, which that was on May 7th. And I wrote that down as a milestone because Carrington, in the first episode, you hear her talk about how she's still on her spiritual journey and she believes in God, but is wanting to get closer. And as a queer person, has struggled with her connection with Him just because of church hurt and things of that nature. And for her to be just taking over an episode in general, and like it was so fun. You guys ate that up. You guys eat Carrington up. Rude. No, but you like she did such a good job, and for her to take on that like leadership initiative in this project that is not even her own, but she has been such an essential part of this podcast. I am so thankful for her, and like I couldn't do this without her, and I'm really like thank you, Care. With that, I think it was also in May. Let's see. I'm coming now. The world to know. So in May, we had Gracie join our pod team, which again, another person that I'm so thankful for. Gracie, I would have literally turned to dust if you had not joined our team. Editing is crazy. Film editors, you guys better be nice to them because it's a lot, especially for a podcast where me and Carrington do not shut the frick up. She's amazing and she giggles at us and she's always so peaceful and it's just she's such a great part of our team and we're so thankful for her contributions. I as someone who took on the editing from the bat, and I learned so quick. It is so much, and she just is so willing to do it, just out of like service, out of the kindness of her heart. She's skilled. She's someone that has awards in her editing. It is so awesome to have her as one of our team members, and for her to want to be here and to love the pod and love what we do and love me and Carrington. I am so thankful for her. So that was a huge milestone, and for us to even be growing the pod team, crazy. In June, That was my actual first time posting a coming out post. And I know it's not necessarily pod related, but it was something that I felt I wanted to do because of the pod. I wanted to be somebody who was an advocate during Pride Month and just really put myself out there. I also made my Instagram public, it's always been private. And so to be publicly out as queer, which again, I know my haircut, take it easy, but it's something that I never really posted out loud. And that was huge because it's different when it's don't ask, don't tell versus it's I have a written statement. This pod has pushed me to do that. And so to do it in a way that was part of that positive light of Pride Month, it was actually a really huge thing for me. And again, I've been out, but I've been out with contingencies, unfortunately. In the past 6 years of me being out, a lot of those years were me still hiding myself and my label and who I truly was. And posting was huge because I got to do that in a way where I'm coming out not only because I'm happy to, because I love who I am and love my community, but because I'm also going to be an advocate for my community in connection with God. I'm so solidified in myself. I'm able to share that. I'm so thankful for the pod because it pushed me to be able to do something that was so genuinely freeing. So thank you, Pod, for encouraging me to do that and for the viewers that stick around to show me that this is worth something and that this is making an impact to somebody because things like that not only are big in light of me trying to be a leader for this pod, but just big in myself as an individual. So thank you for letting that be a part of what is this long coming out journey that I'm on, but that I'm on still and is really cool. So thank you. Thank you, chat. Okay, then in July, I did my first solo episode, which was because of technical difficulties. That's when we took a break, actually. I have it written down here on the 28th. We took that break. We decided it was supposed to be a month break. In August, then we decided that it was going to be a 2 month break. Then we came back in October. That's when we did our Mentee Beat episode. And that's when we started going from every Tuesday to every other Tuesday postings. And we did that in light of it was a lot. Not only are we filming and editing and all the social media, but for me, I also have to go in and plan the episode and get the research and get the content and fact check myself, even though it seems like I don't. I try to. It was a lot. And to do that every week and to have it ready and actually good was so much. And again, through that, I was still trying to figure myself out and going through the breakup and trying to do good at work and yada yada. It was a lot. So that's why we dialed it back. And yes, I'm in a better place now. And I did consider trying to go back to every Tuesday, but we are going to keep it at every other Tuesday. It was a decision that I thought about and that I think is just the best, not only for me as an individual, but content wise. So just a heads up on that. Also, Kara did her Faith and Science episode in October, which again, so cool to see Carrington take over. And then it was also really cool to see her share her passion on the pod. Carrington loves biology, and that's her craft. And it was actually, as her friend, it was really cool to see her divulge into things that she was passionate about herself. And then to make it in connection to God, I learned so much. And I loved that episode. And you guys ate it up. Views, great. You guys love Carrington. And I think I will always view Carrington's episodes as a milestone. Like I'm her friend and I'm just so proud of her for being her in that leadership, especially in something that I love then. So it's like, it's in November, we made a political statement, which I'm someone that's always remained pretty neutral, or at least I've tried to, especially on social media. And I think that came from being a college athlete, wanting a scholarship. I don't know who does what, but I needed to make sure I had every opportunity open for me, and politics was the last thing to get in the way of sports, even though it's not. Anyway, for me to make a public political statement, and yes, I know that the message was neutral, I hope. It still was something that was pretty big for me to do as an individual, and I know that Carrington was along with me on that, and to post a statement about something that didn't go in my favor as well. Something that, kind of is a spooky situation. It was big. And also, it made me really proud of me and Care and where we are because, mind you, when me and Care met, I was so scared of being figured out that I was like, that I was bi at the time. And I I remember I cried when I found out someone like saw I kissed a girl, and like now I'm out here making political statements about it and trying to help others, lead others to have peace in this like, realm of something that I would never do as an individual, making a political statement and making it a statement about myself and something that I hold so close to. It's just so cool to see that. And like Carrington was like, somewhat in the same boat about kind of being shy about sharing her sexuality. And we're both out here making this public statement that, again, I hope was neutral, but like to even consider that and then for us to actually go through it, it's really cool to see Kara and I's growth in that. And as her friend, like I'm so proud of her, and as friends who have been on this journey together for a good hot minute, especially concerning like figuring ourselves out and our self-discovery and authenticity. Like, it is so cool to see us get to this point where we're able to stand in what we really believe. And so, yeah, that's a big milestone. That's a big success for me. And then December, Gracie was on the pod. My voice cracked. She made her first appearance on the pod, which, can we talk about how good Gracie's camera quality is? She made an appearance on the Sodom and Gomorrah episode, which was posted in December. It was posted on December 10th. So if you guys haven't seen it or watched it, go on YouTube and watch like that last like 10 minutes, I think. Let's talk about how funny she is and her freaking little graphics and like the way the way she like talked about certain things. I remember watching that for the first time and cracking the frick up. Gracie did such an amazing job. And also Gracie, as when we got her onto the pod as a team member, like she was always supposed to be like editor. We never really considered like, oh, you're gonna be on the camera, like public. But Gracie, guys, Gracie loves the pod. And she loves being a part of the pod. And then to see her be able to be publicly on the pod and to show her off, and also for her to be taking that step to be so actively involved in like the actual public part, like the show part, it was so cool. Like she was really stepping out of her comfort zone and out of her specialty to serve the pod and to do something good for it. I was blown away. Like I loved it. And she did, it was so flippin' funny. It was so funny. You guys need to watch it. I'm so proud of her. That was a huge milestone for me. Like, I remember watching it, and that made my day seeing Grace. Gracie, you made my day being on the pod, and I just am so proud of you. And watching the team grow, like I love that part about the pod. Like you see it, like Carrington says it where she's like growing in her spirituality, and such a great initiative by Gracie because that was a technical difficulty that she ended up like covering us on, and like I'm so thankful and to see these two put in this work and then do it for God and know that they're like, being a part of the ministry but being happy to do it. Like it makes me so excited and just I'm so proud of them, and I see the way that they grow, and I'm sure that they see the way that I grow too. And I'm so thankful that this team, we're hopefully able to benefit each other because I know that those two have benefited me, and I love seeing them grow. I love seeing those two grow. It is so cool. So yeah, recap of the year, and then I am going to work on some goals for the podcast and some goals for me as well because of course the podcast and I coincide. And I'm just going to kind of read the bullet points because we're getting kind of long here. But essentially, as an individual, I really want to get better at my personal administrative skills, and I know that sounds like a work thing and it kind of is, but like I want to get better at answering my texts. I want to get better at communicating, and I want to get better at giving people the things that they need and the resources that they need quicker and faster. And that just encompasses so many things, making sure that I give Gracie the resources that she needs to edit the pod and being on time for that, and telling Kara the schedule so that I'm not just asking her to pull up on the day before the episode filming. As a leader, it's important for you to have those administrative and communicative skills, and I want to get better at those. I want to get better at my timeliness. I'm super late to everything, so my goal is to get better at being on time. If you know me as an individual in real life, you know that that is a major problem in my life. I'm trying to get better at that. A lot of this too, this administrative stuff is loving people better. Like communication, are you kidding? Answering someone's text back, letting them feel heard, like bare minimum. Being on time and showing someone that you're worth their effort to be there, to be punctual and not waste their time. That's love, and it's rude to not be that way. So why am I not doing that? And especially as someone as a leader, like to you guys, that stuff affects you guys. How good is this editing going to turn out when Gracie only has so many days to edit? Stuff like that. Like, it's part of the leadership role, it's part of being a good person. And I really need to work on those technical administrative skills to get there. And so it's silly and it sucks having to be like I am a mid 20-year-old still having to work on being on time. It is extremely bad, but like, I got to be honest and I got to work on it while I can. A lot of just like keeping myself disciplined and doing the adult things. That's a huge part of it. Getting routine and creating white space for myself in the sense of creating time in my schedule to make sure that when bumps do happen in the road, I have time for it or self-care time. You guys have seen me get burnt out. You guys, I told you a bit about it. And having my administrative skills down to communicate with people and to be honest and manage my time well, then I'm gonna do that. That comes with it. That is a lot of what my goals are. Is just keeping myself accountable and disciplined and just doing the right thing. But it gets you. It gets you when you're tired and it gets you when you have late nights to edit and it gets you when you are eating junk food because you're trying to go so fast in life and it gets you when you're just tired of looking at a screen all day but you got to come home and look at a screen all day again. And so I got to give myself grace, but there's a point I got to get more discipline. I'm working on reading more. A lot of it are self-discipline books, like Boundaries by Henry Cloud. I still have not finished that. My goal is to finish that. There's a book called The 360-Degree Leader by John Maxwell that I want to read. It's not only that, but learning more about the Bible and scripture and diving into God and just I need time to do that. So my first goal and my biggest goal is to get my routines down, my administration down, and figure out the best way that I can balance work and life and my mental health in order to be productive and to do the work that God has laid out for me and understanding how to approach that because I have a lot of goals and while reading books and possibly getting my own apartment and things of that nature, like are exciting for me. They're secondary when it comes to developing my discipline because that's like a core trait. And pertaining to the pod, when I have more of that white space and when I am better at administration, I get to be more productive and complete the visions that I've had for the pod, being a better communicator to my team and being a better leader to them. Being more consistent with my social media postings. Again, you never know who those are going to reach, and holding myself accountable in that, improving the video quality, doing things, I guess, in a more clean way, and taking the time to improve those things about our production that I think, fell a little short. I hope you guys can tell that I am recording on my phone right now. I have a better camera. It's like those things that I am working on and just creating space to make those improvements when they come up and then actually making those improvements. So again, technical, audio, visual. We're doing some different things with our editing platforms and our recording studio and software and yada yada. That always takes time, but we were working on it. So I hope you guys know that in the downtimes that we do take in those off weeks, we really are working on improving things. I'm working on updating my written argument, the 16-page paper one. I'm sure you guys have heard me mention that a couple times. And I'm sharing this too to hold myself accountable, but I would love to get that out and publish it publicly. So I've had people ask for it. And so for people that don't want to listen to for like an hour to try to get just a little bit of information, like I want to have that there for you guys. And so I'm really working on adding those citations and cleaning up those sections so that I can publish it in a clean way that's understandable and that does encompass all the research that you would need in order to form the opinion for yourself and also to hear my argument clearly. So I'm working on that. It's actually, I want to say right now it's like 22 pages. So it's a lot and that I need to get those citations in there. Right now it's a mess. It's a Google Doc that is like like has everything everywhere and there's another Google Doc of an extra section, so I'm working on that. We're really going to be starting to dive into that content. We're going to be starting to talk about those topics that we've always discussed from the beginning where it's no longer just giving history, but we're going to be debating those different arguments about did God make it only man and woman? Is that our intended design? Or how does the New Testament approach the idea of modern day homosexuality if it actually does in the sense of an actual true authentic love that we see today? And we're really going to start debating both sides and getting into that nitty gritty and getting into those subjective answers And I'm really excited for that. And I'm really working hard on getting all the research that I can to provide all points. And yeah, I just feel like now that I kind of have my bearings a little bit on how to produce a podcast, it's going to be a little different this year, but I'm excited and I'm excited to dive all into it. A lot of my goals pertained around just really diving into this ministry. And I'm so sorry again, guys, that I didn't initially do that. And I want to thank you for the grace and patience that y'all gave me in order to figure out my life. You guys are awesome. And I'm so thankful that the viewers that we have are you guys. Thank you for getting through this year with the pod so far. And, I know in 2025, we're working for you guys and doing good things. And yeah, thanks for being with us. And thank you for listening to this episode today of just me beep bopping on this microphone. You guys are great. I'm really thankful for you guys and I'm excited for the things that we have in store. I'm sorry I rushed through this ending little piece. I'm hungry. Anyway, y'all have a good night. I'm excited. Happy 2025 from the Good Fruit Pod. And we're excited for the journey that we're about to be on. And remember, God is good. God is love. God loves you. Go off and produce good fruit. Bye, guys.